I'm just gonna stay in bed today, okay?
The story kicks off when the demon queen Echidna launches an all-out attack on the human realm, the human savior. Leo steps in and single-handedly saves the day with his unmatched power, driving back the demon army alone. But instead of praised, he is betrayed by his own people. Now he decides to take revenge on humans, with the help of Hot Demon Queen and her general baddies around him. It all started 1 year ago. The demon army came into the human world with their leader, the demon queen Echidna, and started bothering humans. But Leo thinks he is Madara Uchiha, so he decided to do it all alone and beat the whole demon army like it was easy. After that he fought Echidna, who was in a huge monster form like a nine-tails fox, and she was actually strong. Even then, Leo smashed the crystal on her forehead, which made her turn back into a normal, human-looking body, and he noticed she was actually a girl, thinking she is really hot. When Leo went back to the human town, instead of people thanking him, they turned against him. They put out papers talking bad about him and even sent people to take him down. Leo felt betrayed and thought, if humans hate me anyway, I might as well join the demons before they get rid of me. So he spent a few months traveling to the demon land. When he saw how much he had broken their castle before, he wore old, ripped clothes to hide himself and walked into the throne room where Echidna and her 4 top generals were. There, he took off the disguise and said he was the hero who beat them, but he wanted to join their side and help fix their problems. Echidna didn't fall for his act and blasted him with fire, which burned his bad disguise and even the plan he brought. But her 4 generals still respected Leo, since he had beaten all of them and even their queen in the last war, so they decided to listen to him without telling her. Back then, the first general he fought was a big brute named Edwald, who is hard than the mountain rocks. After a bit of struggle, Leo beat this monster in just 30 seconds. Just like your girlfriend, who beats you up in bed. He defeats him by shooting a magic attack right in his face. The next general was an edgy assassin named Melnus, who tried to act like a hooded mafia and jumped around everywhere, just like my girlfriend on the last night. But Leo one-shotted him, and even destroyed the whole building with a single spell. After that, he was supposed to fight the beast General Lily, but she had amnesia and was kind of simple. So, instead of beating her, he just looked after her. The last one was a strong 4-eyed mage named Shutina. Leo stopped her by casting an anti-magic barrier, which made her spells useless. But guys, I think she is already useless. Now, in the present, he told them the humans betrayed him, and he wanted revenge by helping Echidna rebuild her army and wipe them out. When she heard what he said, Shutina agreed to let him stay, but only for 1 month to test him, and see if he was actually useful or useless. She also told him to keep a magic disguise on all the time, so Echidna wouldn't find out who he really was. She said if he did good work in that month, they would talk to Echidna and make her accept him for real. The next morning, Leo woke up happy even though he had a huge pile of papers, and he is thinking that I'm a CEO of Google. Also, he wanted to prove himself in this trial. He opened his door with magic and went to wake up Shutina, who was sleeping in her night outfit that can melt any Sigma male instantly.
We must stay focused, brothers. We must stay focused.
But she didn't want to get up, so he used a voice spell to sound like Echidna. With that voice, he told her to report on the new job applicants. Right away, she jumped up and said, with her head down, that they still hadn't finished checking all the applications because there were too many. Then Leo switched back to his real voice and kept asking her questions. Shutina nervously said she would have a list of people to interview by the next day. Leo told her he knew she wasn't sleeping, and she said it was because she was trying to do everything alone. He told her to give some work to her helpers, because she can't do it all herself. She agreed, then looked up, saw it was Leo and not the queen, and immediately started shooting ice bullets at him. The banging from Shutina's room was so loud that even Echidna heard it and was thinking, what kind of a boyfriend she has.
What do you mean by that?
Sorry guys, I mean, is Shutina fighting someone in her sleep? After that, Leo was picking up all the broken stuff when Shutina started yelling at him again, and throwing more ice bullets on him. And guys, I don't know why she is yelling like a 5-year-old baby. The main issue was that the demon army didn't have enough people anymore, because of Leo's huge attack from before. A lot of the high-ranking demon soldiers got badly hurt, and had to go back to the demon world to recover. Since they weren't around, all their work got dumped on the 4 generals and most of it ended up on Shutina, since she's the only one who have beauty with brains. Echidna wanted the demon army fixed fast, so Shutina had been working non-stop, just like you who is visiting non-stop at Anime Hub. That's why the ice spells she was firing at Leo weren't as strong. She was worn out. She was out of breath, and Leo teased her, saying she should go easy on him since he was trying to help. She complained that he came into her room while she was sleeping, and he reminded her she's his kind top-ranking OnlyFans model. She got super embarrassed and blasted him with an even bigger ice spell. A bit later, Shutina got dressed properly and Leo went through the list of jobs she had to do. He suggested she give some of those tasks to other people. Shutina said she couldn't, because there wasn't anyone she trusted to handle it right, and Leo sighed and let it go. The last job on the list was to refill the mana reactors. Leo started thinking it through. The castle uses those reactors to supply mana to different areas, but only the person who made a reactor can recharge it. That meant the reactors Shutina built could only be refilled by her, and if someone with different mana tried to do it, the whole thing would break. Leo said he'd take over refilling Shutina's mana reactors so she wouldn't have to worry about it anymore, and she actually thanked him since that job was giving her a headache. He asked her how she thought he was going to do it, and she told him his plan was to copy her mana pattern using a spell called Harmonize. Shutina explained that, out of all the reactors in the castle, only 4 were the kind she made, and those only needed to be refilled every few days. Leo still said he'd finish the whole thing in 2 hours and 30 minutes. Shutina joked that she could do it in under an hour, so Leo said he'd do it in such a cool way that she'd be impressed enough to let him raid her dungeon. After that, he cast a spell and covered himself in black knight armor, then asked Shutina if he could call himself assistant to the demon generals, and she agreed. When Leo stepped out, he saw an elf girl named Dianette, but she ran off the moment she spotted him. A bit later, he went back to Shutina's room and told her the job was already done. She says, "I know your timing is too bad. Sorry guys, she didn't believe him since only about 30 minutes had passed, but he said he'd handled everything. She tried to give him more work, but Leo said he was done for the day because copying her mana type had drained him. To keep an eye on things, he made a little magic orb so he could watch her while he rested. So while Shutina was doing piles of paperwork, Leo was lying on the couch relaxing. When she complained that he was slacking, he said he needed to recover his mana. She tried to pull him up to help, but he used a gravity spell to make himself super heavy so she couldn't drag him. She was about to hit him with a big spell when someone knocked. Dianette came in, and Leo praised her for finishing the job he sent her on, and told her to call him Dark Knight, because I have everything black. He asked her to report on the mana reactor work, and she said the talisman he gave her worked fine. Shutina was surprised, so Dianette explained that the talisman was strong enough to keep using, and asked if they could handle the mana refills from now on. Leo explained that he made the talisman from a special stone, filled it with Shutina's mana pattern, and gave it to Dianette so she could refill the reactors instead of Shutina doing it. Dianette also said she found 3 more people to help, so Leo put all 4 of them in charge of that task. After that, Dianette admitted she'd been worried about Shutina overworking, and that made Shutina emotional. Once Dianette left, Leo reminded Shutina that work should be shared between allies, and that she needed to trust her team. He gave her a list of jobs she could pass down. Shutina thanked him for helping, even though she'd been rude earlier, and Leo said it was no big deal. She smiled and let him go, and of course, he ruined the moment by asking her for the night out, so she sent him flying with ice bullets again. That night, Shutina met with Leo and told him Lily had been sent out on an important supply job but that the clueless Loli was treating it like playtime. Leo was actually trying to relax on a nice island in the Largo Sea, but his break didn't last because Lily showed up there and started racing around with her troops. When Shutina first mentioned Lily was going all the way to Largo, Leo asked why it was that far. Shutina explained that the demon army and the people of Largo have a strong deal going. Leo pointed out that Largo is a place where dragon folk live, and he brought up how 3,000 years ago, the demon king Blee attacked the human world. After he lost, humans and demons started living together more calmly, and the dragon folk did too until humans started treating them badly. That's why the dragon folk moved to Largo. Shutina told him that because of that bad history with humans, the people of Largo actually supported Echidna when she invaded, and with their help she was able to keep fighting humans for a long time. She said Largo is basically the demon army's main support right now. Then she told Leo to make sure the shipment arrived safely, because the castle was running low on food and equipment. She even showed him Lily's reports, which looked more like a kid's coloring notebook, and said Lily always wastes time on missions, even though she has enough people to finish them fast. Leo asked why she didn't just send Edwald, since he's from Largo, and Shutina said they needed him to guard the castle, plus Lily wouldn't learn anything if Edwald did it for her. That's when Leo realized he was being sent to watch over Lily. He agreed to go, and right when Shutina started explaining the route to Largo, but he is man of culture, so he asked her, "Do you want some fun before I go?"
Stop it. Get some help.
And she got flustered and fired more ice bullets at him. Back in the present, Leo was chasing after Lily while she ran around the island with her crew. After their little race, she praised her soldiers for doing well. Leo told her to stop fooling around, but Lily said they weren't playing, they were racing to see who could bring the supplies faster. One of her men said they still had a lot left to move, but Lily just said they were done for today and everyone could rest. Later, Leo was sitting by the beach when Lily came over with a coconut and started feeding him. But Leo was worried. There were still tons of supplies on the island that needed to be sent through the portal back to the castle. And at the slow pace Lily was going, it would take forever. He knew that if the work was split properly, the job could be finished in a day or two. Right when he was thinking about how to organize it, Lily distracted him again by handing him carrots. Some demons asked Lily who Leo was, and she was about to blurt out the truth, so Leo quickly covered her mouth and told them his name was the Dark Knight Onyx. A little later, Leo tried to tell some demons to repair the damaged parts, but they said they couldn't change jobs unless Lily approved it. Leo looked over at her. She was just happily eating carrots, and he realized how bad the situation was. That evening, Leo felt frustrated. The cargo still wasn't all moved. The people of Largo were already complaining about how messy the demons were being. And if it kept going like this, they might lose the trust of the dragon folk and the whole supply route. Lily showed up again and saw him looking down. And since she didn't understand what was wrong, she thought he was sick and ran off to get medicine. Meanwhile, back at the castle, a demon reported to Shutina that the shipment still hadn't arrived. After he left, Melna said Lily wasn't smart enough to handle an important job like that. But Shutina reminded him that Lily is still one of the 4 demon generals. And she told him that after the war, when Echidna was depressed about losing to Leo, it was Lily who cheered her up. Back on the island, Leo noticed Lily running everywhere, trying to find medicine for him, and he thought, if she used this energy on the actual job, we'd be done. Then he got an idea. A few minutes later, Lily came back to the tent with medicine, but Leo was pretending to be even worse. He told her a snake bit him. It was just part of his plan to help her grow up, and Lily immediately started crying. Leo said he might not make it, but Lily said she didn't want him to die and suggested taking him to Shutina to heal him. Leo told her she couldn't do that because the portal was broken, and no one in Largo knew healing magic, so the only way was to find herbs. Lily said she'd go get some, which is exactly what Leo wanted. After she left, Leo healed himself with cleanse magic, teleported the snake away, and sent his magic orb to follow her. He had already set up a path full of little tests on the way to the mountains, so Lily would have to lead her team properly. On the way, Lily changed into a big white wolf. Leo realized it was the divine wolf Fenrir, a guardian from Lily's homeland, Urkia. She reached the first test, a big wall Leo made that shouldn't break from normal attacks. Leo thought she'd have to work with her team, but Lily just smashed straight through it with pure strength. Then she got to the second test, a bunch of sticky slimes that held her down. Leo expected her to get stuck, but she forced her way out again. The third test was a wide gap in the ground. Leo even showed up disguised as an ugly merchant to watch her think. When he saw her stuck, he sang a dumb song about working together. So she ran back like she was going to get help, but instead, Lily swam through the river below the gap, climbed up the other side, and said her friends told her to do it that way. Lily cleared the rest of the tests and met Leo afterward. He praised her for doing well. She showed him a drawing she made of everyone working together and said that the merchant helped her realize she couldn't do everything by herself. When they came back, Leo told Shutina that Lily actually improved on the mission. Shutina then told him that Queen Echidna wanted to meet Dark Knight Onyx right away. That night, Leo remembered his past. There was a time he got dropped from a helicopter to defeat demons, attacking a city. He destroyed them easily, but the humans watching him were scared of him instead of thankful. He kept fighting anyway, because that was the role he was made for, protect humans. Thinking about it annoyed him, since it was another bad memory. When Shutina first told him about the queen calling him, Leo thought maybe Echidna had figured out their plan. Shutina told him to calm down and said the queen probably just wanted to meet him properly. She also admitted she was the one who told Echidna that their recent progress was thanks to Dark Knight Onyx, so Leo called her dumb for mentioning him. Leo knew Echidna was strong in both magic and sword skills, so she might be able to see through his disguise. Shutina told him to call her right away if the queen found out, but Leo said he'd handle it. He put on his armor and told her to act like she didn't know anything. When he entered the throne room, Echidna started praising Dark Knight Onyx for all his work, so he realized she hadn't recognized him. She invited him to eat with her at a table full of food, and Leo was low-key shocked he'd never had dinner with a pretty demon queen before. They ate and drank, but Leo just wanted to leave before she made him take off his mask. Eventually, Echidna asked him to remove it. He tried to dodge it, but she said she wanted to talk face to face. As she pulled it off, Leo used magic to change his face into a slightly different, paler one. Echidna said he looked fine. Since Leo isn't good at talking, he just kept pouring her more wine like a butler to get her drunk, so the meeting would end. After refilling her glass over and over, she looked close to done, but then she took the drink and started chugging straight from the bottle. While this was happening, Shutina was in her office panicking inside, worried that the dumb hero was going to slip up in front of Echidna. When Lily suddenly came in, Shutina acted calm like nothing unusual was going on. Meanwhile, at the dinner, Leo moved to his backup plan. He started chatting about the food, saying the sausage they were eating used rare spices from Largo. Echidna said she hadn't had a proper fancy meal in a while because they were running low on spices, and she even said Lily did well on her mission. Leo noticed her smile, looked really normal like a regular girl's smile. He brought it up because he was actually the one who cooked the sausage himself using a special recipe. When he told her that, Echidna began praising Dark Knight Onyx again, but then, she changed the topic and asked why he always kept his helmet on. Leo made up a story and said the goddess Tiana cursed him, so he could only show his face for a short time. Echidna asked if he'd be okay since he'd already had the helmet off for a while, and Leo went full loyal knight mode and said he didn't mind if it was to spend time with his queen. That flustered her, and Leo was happy because he wanted to use that as an excuse to leave soon. But Echidna totally ignored what he said and just kept drinking with him, breaking all the limits tonight. At the same time, Shutina was arguing with Lily about work when Dianette came in and said she had an important message. At the dinner, Echidna thanked Dark Knight Onyx for helping Shutina and Lily, and said she made that big meal to thank him. She also said anyone who wants to help her kingdom is welcome. Then Leo asked, "If you welcome people like that, why didn't you let the hero join you?" As soon as she heard the hero, Echidna got angry. She said the hero is the one person she never wants in her army, because someone that strong could destroy the demons from inside. Leo thought it was funny, because the hero she was insulting was actually helping her right now. Echidna kept talking and said, the hero even stopped her from getting the Philosopher's Stone. She said people say it's a special treasure from when the capital was made, and that it can do amazing things, even make someone live forever. But Leo knew that story wasn't true, because he had used the stone before and saw it doesn't really do that. Echidna then admitted she didn't start the war to conquer humans, she started it to get the stone. Leo asked her why she wanted it, since she was still in the human world building her army instead of going home. She didn't explain there. She told him to come with her in her bedroom. She brought him out to the balcony and told him the truth. The demon realm is basically a dead land, with no sun, no plants, and almost no food. The demons there have to fight each other just to survive on what little is left. Echidna said she wanted to change that. Her plan was to use the Philosopher's Stone to make the demon world into a good place to live. Leo was surprised, because he realized she wasn't attacking humans just for power, she was doing it so her own people could have a better life. Leo then mentioned how she ordered her army not to kill humans, and Echidna said she couldn't fully act like a bad villain, because she knew humans were only protecting their own land, the same way she was protecting hers. She also said she didn't hate the hero, because he was just doing his job too. That's when Leo understood she was actually a kind queen. Echidna then asked Dark Knight Onyx what his real goal was, and he was just about to tell her the truth when Shutina and Lily rushed in to report that the other two generals had failed their missions. One evening, Leo found Melnis sitting by the river looking stressed, so he asked him what was wrong. Earlier, when Leo got the letters from Melnis and Edwald, he was shocked. Melnis had written that no one should come after him because he was going on a journey, and Edwald's letter said he was going to do seppuku because he failed to train his soldiers properly. Leo said he'd go bring Melnis back, and Echidna said she'd deal with Edwald herself. But Echidna was super drunk from all the drinks, so the other generals got worried. Then she just spat fire and sobered up. After that, Leo went to find Melnis while wearing his dark armor. When he got close, Melnis attacked him right away. Leo tried to tell him, "It's me, Leo." But Melnis didn't listen, so Leo dropped the disguise and showed his real form. That made Melnis stop. Back in the present, Leo asked him why he used such a lame excuse like, "I'm going on a journey." Melnis said it was true, but Leo told him a general can't just leave like that if he disappears. It becomes harder for them to rebuild the demon army. See, while they talked, Leo secretly wrapped Melnis's leg with a magic chain so he couldn't run away. He didn't want Melnis to escape before telling the real reason. Leo told him, if you're really going to quit, make sure you don't leave with regrets, and asked what was actually bothering him. Melnis joked around for a bit, acting like Nezuko. But after a few minutes, he finally said it. In 3 days he had to do a bunch of interviews by himself. He said he needed to act cool and confident because he'd be interviewing spies and agents, people who are really good at talking. Leo told Melnis straight up that talking wasn't his strong point. He also reminded him that he used to be a guild master, so Melnis explained that back then he always let other people do the talking for him. That's when Leo realized he was the one who beat those talkers in the war and sent them back to the demon realm. So now, Melnis had no one to speak for him. Melnis said that's why he wanted to travel. He thought if he went around and saw different places, he could learn how to talk better. But now that Leo was there, he said he didn't need to run away anymore, and he asked Leo to make him good at talking in 3 days. Leo told him that being able to communicate is super important when you're working in a team, and he asked Melnis if he'd asked anyone else for help. Melnis said no, because everyone was busy, so he didn't want to bother them. Leo called him weird for writing a dramatic letter instead of just saying, "Hey, I need help." Melnis tried to run off again, but Leo had already tied his leg with the magic chain, so he couldn't escape. Leo then agreed to teach him for the next 3 days. After a while, Leo or Dark Knight Onyx reported back to Echidna and told her about the deal he made with Melnis, and he asked her not to let Melnis run off on any training trips for now. Echidna praised him for handling it. Lily almost slipped and said his real name again, but she covered her mouth just in time, and Echidna ignored it. Echidna also said her 4 generals are like her advisors, and that Melnis' opinions about humans sometimes didn't match hers. That made Leo remember back in the war when he defeated Melnis, and Melnis said he'd wipe out humans someday if Leo didn't kill him then. Leo then asked how things were going with Edwald, and Echidna said the big guy couldn't even do seppuku because his abs were so tough they broke every sword he tried to stab himself with. Leo mentioned the part in Edwald's letter about not being able to train his men properly, and Echidna said she put his daughter Girietta with him to keep an eye on him, since that's the only person he listens to. She said he'd talk when he calmed down. Leo told her he'd help with Edwald too once he was done fixing things with Melnis, and Echidna thanked him. Later, at a small diner, Leo and Melnis were working undercover. Rats were cooking in the back, and Leo and Melnis were serving food dressed as barmaids. The head cook thanked Leo because the food had gotten better after he taught them, and Leo said he still had more cooking tricks to teach. Melnis then asked why he had to dress like a girl just to learn how to talk to people. Leo said they had to disguise themselves because no one would relax if a demon general was serving them food. Melnis said Leo still looked like the hero, but Leo told him most demons didn't remember his face from the war anyway, unlike Melnis, who was famous like John Wick among demons. Melnis asked why Leo didn't give him a guy outfit, and Leo said they didn't have his size, then teased him and said he actually looked cute in the maid dress. Leo told Melnis that serving tables would help him learn how to talk to people, and then they were called over to take orders. The head chef told Melnis to smile, but the smile he gave looked super creepy, so she teased him about it. After that, Leo started teaching him properly. He said, "Imagine you're eating with Queen Echidna and the other generals," and told him that when you talk to people, you have to think about how they feel. That's called empathy. Melnis said that when he trained as an assassin, the guild told him to throw away his empathy, so he asked Leo for some secret skill instead. Leo told him, "First, just be quiet and listen." Melnis kicked his toe in frustration, and Leo explained that listening is a big part of talking to people. If you let them speak, they'll trust you more. Right then, some customers started talking trash about Melnis. He tried to change the subject by offering them food, but one of the guys grabbed him. Melnis instantly snapped his arm and took down the other thugs with fast assassin moves, and the rest of them apologized right away. And that's why, guys, you shouldn't try to pick up in the bar. On the way back, Leo told Melnis he'd done well. Later, when they were in Leo's room, Leo asked him to try a practice interview so he could use the things he'd just learned. That's when Melnis asked, "That thing you said about joining us to destroy humans, was that actually true?" Leo said he didn't expect Melnis to be the one to ask that, since he thought Shutina would ask first. Melnis said, "You told me to think from the other person's side, so I tried looking at it from yours." Then he said he realized something: Leo is strong enough to wipe out humans by himself. He doesn't really need Echidna or the 4 generals to do it. So he asked, "If you can do it alone, why haven't you?" Leo tried to avoid answering, so Melnis tossed a metal piece at him. Leo caught it, but he saw Melnis was being serious. Melnis asked, "Doesn't it make you mad? You fought for humans, and they threw you away." Then Melnis said he wanted humans gone. Leo asked if Melnis had checked into his past, and Melnis said yes. So Leo said he already knew Melnis was half human and half demon. When he was young, humans were so scared of him that his own parents sold him. He got passed around and eventually ended up in an assassin guild, where they trained him. Because of all that, he secretly helped Echidna's army during one of their attacks because he wanted humans to pay for what they did to him. Back then, Echidna told the people in that city that she wasn't there to kill them. She said she just wanted to fix up the place and use it as a base, because her real target was in Rainius. Edwald also told them he'd already arrested their corrupt mayors, and Lily even shared food with the townsfolk. Seeing all that kindness toward humans made Melnis feel like he'd wasted his time helping people he actually hated. Even so, he still reached out to Echidna and joined her army while hiding his real reason for joining. Later, he suggested they move to another town, but Echidna said they had to stay a bit longer because the townspeople were throwing them a thank you party. During the party, Melnis looked annoyed. Shutina told him the party was part of Echidna's plan. It let the soldiers rest, and it gave Echidna a chance to talk to everyone one-on-one, so they wouldn't lose motivation. Edwald joined the chat and said Echidna was different from the old demon army. He said that before he joined, the demon army was just a violent group that wanted to wipe out humans, and that was why he refused them at first. Shutina then asked Melnis why he joined them. He didn't want to say, "I came to kill humans," so he just said he didn't have a real reason. Echidna still thanked him and said that once she rebuilt the demon world with the Philosopher's Stone, she wanted him to live there peacefully. As Melnis walked away to go sleep, He thought to himself that if it came to it, he'd get rid of Echidna and lead the demon army himself so he could destroy humanity. After that, he became one of the demon generals and helped with their campaigns, but not with his full heart until the hero showed up. After Leo beat him back then, Melnus said, "If you don't finish me now, I'll wipe out humans someday." Leo didn't kill him. Instead, he told him, "Go look at the world for yourself." Melnus replied that the world didn't have anything special in it. Leo told him that was only because he was looking at everything like an assassin on a job. He said, "The world looks different when you see it for your own reasons, not just for work," and told him to go find something he'd never seen before. Back in the current time, Melnus said he didn't care what happened to humans, but he also, with tears in his eyes, said he didn't understand how Leo didn't hate humans after what they did to him. Leo then started talking about what he'd noticed about the demon generals. He said Melnus acts like a cold, perfect assassin, but really, he's just someone who's upset and confused. He also said Melnus stayed quiet when Leo explained why he joined the demon army, not because he disliked him, but because he felt bad for him after hearing humans threw him away. Leo told him to stop crying. So Melnus wiped his face and asked Leo to tell him his story. Leo said the things humans said to him really did hurt, since he'd been protecting them for so long. Then he said he'd tell Melnus what the world was like when he was born, a long time ago. Back then, the world was in its high-tech era, before magic was common. The capital, back then, was actually Tokyo. There were rockets, satellites, and the internet. And the world was calm, because it was made up of only humans. Then Leo told him the rest. He said that a long time ago, back when the capital was still Tokyo, a big hole suddenly opened in the middle of the city. From that hole, demons of all shapes came out and started attacking, wrecking buildings and hurting people. Humans fought back, and that turned into a full war between humans and demons. But humans soon noticed they weren't strong enough to win. So the humans decided to make a weapon. Some scientists started a plan to create 12 superhuman beings that had demon power inside them, so they could fight demons on equal ground. That project was called the Demon Heart series. Leo told Melnus that he was the only one left from that project. He said his whole life was nothing but fighting demons to protect people. He was built to be really tough, so even after the other demon hearts died in battle, he kept surviving. Time passed, the world changed, machines got replaced by magic, but he was still following the same old order: protect humans. Even when he started doubting it, he couldn't quit because that was what he was made for. Then Leo said something that shocked Melnus. He said he was actually glad when humans threw him away, because when they rejected him, it finally gave him a reason to stop being the hero and actually live his own life and see the world. He started talking about how he was enjoying working with the demon army, helping them fix things, and Melnus had to cut him off, and that's when Leo noticed he'd never really told anyone his story before. Leo also revealed that he was the one who stopped Echidna's father, the demon lord Caesarius, from taking over the world. But even so, he said Echidna and her generals were good people. He said he wanted to help them be happy by getting the Philosopher's Stone for them. Then Leo told Melnus why he was telling him all this, because Melnus actually has something important for communication, a real reason behind his words, a strong feeling. That's what makes people listen. After hyping him up, Leo boosted the emo assassin's mood so much that Melnus ended up passing out on the couch. Not long after that, some demons were digging in old ruins and found a big robot-looking arm sticking out of the wall. Somewhere else, Giulietta was complaining to Leo about her dad Edwald, saying he always thinks everyone should be as strong as him. Leo told her to chill for a minute and have some tea. He talked about the report she gave him, the one where Edwald put the new soldiers through crazy training. But even after all that, they still got beaten by an arch-chimera. After that, Edwald said his men were weak and useless, and even said he should take the blame by ending his own life. Leo told her that dying won't fix anything. Giulietta said. Luckily, her musclehead dad dropped the idea of suicide for now, and she explained that arch-chimeras are top-class monsters. The soldiers they sent were just normal newbies with no real battle skill. So of course they lost. Leo asked why Edwald made beginners fight something that's strong. Giulietta said, it's because he thinks everyone should be able to fight like him. So when they failed, he thought they just weren't trying hard enough. Leo said that's Edwald's problem. He thinks strength only comes from effort. But that's not true. Some people are born gifted like Lily, some learned a lot like Shutina, and some get help from their environment. It's not just work harder. Giulietta asked why her dad can't understand that. Leo explained that being a great fighter doesn't mean you're a great teacher. Someone like Edwald thinks, I did it, so you can too. And when people can't, he blames them instead of changing his training. Giulietta added that after Edwald lost to Leo, he blamed his own training and started working twice as hard every day. She said she'd always wanted to be like her dad, Edwald, but his hard-headed way of doing things was causing problems. His training was so extreme that the soldiers were passing out. Leo said he was surprised they didn't just quit, but Giulietta told him they were serious about Edwald's goal too. so they pushed themselves to keep up with him. Then she asked Leo what they should do. Leo said he'd take care of it, and she was happy. Meanwhile, Melnus told Shutina and Lily that Leo was actually a human-made weapon created to protect humans, and that his "I joined to destroy humanity" line was fake. Shutina said they'd trust him for now but keep watching him, and Lily happily agreed. Around that time, Leo saw a drawing of lilies, which gave him an idea. Right then, a demon came to tell him Queen Echidna wanted to see him. When he got to the throne room, Echidna told, "Come, let's have some fun." Sorry, guy mean she told him. Edwald had stepped down as a general because he thought he wasn't good enough to lead anymore. Leo asked if he left the demon army, but she said no, he just lowered himself to a normal soldier so he could train with his men. Leo didn't like that, because he knew losing a general would make things harder. Echidna said she told Edwald to rethink it, but he wouldn't. She was about to ask Leo what to do, but then stopped herself, realizing she was relying on him too much, and said she'd try to figure it out on her own. Leo told Echidna to let him deal with Edwald, and said he'd fix it quickly. She agreed and said she'd talk to him about something important after it was over. He said okay and left. Later, Lily showed Leo and Jirietta the big robot she found in the ruins. Leo explained that it was a weapon from the old modern era, way stronger than an arch chimera. He said it was a machine golem called Phantom 9, built to fight high-class demons. He told them they were going to use it for his plan. A few hours after that, Edwald gathered his soldiers and told them he was quitting as a general and joining them as a normal soldier. Everyone panicked. He also said Jirietta would be the new general. Leo was watching from above with stealth magic and said to himself that he was going to teach them something. Right then, the machine golem showed up. Edwald ordered his men to attack it, but their weapons broke when they hit it. Edwald kept yelling at them to keep fighting, but the golem suddenly fired a laser at them. Leo blocked it with magic and the beam blew up a mountain behind them. It shot again, and Leo sent the beam into the sky. Leo was trying to think of the best way to handle it, but Edwald suddenly rushed in to fight the golem himself. The robot swung a laser blade at him and he barely dodged. Leo showed himself and told Edwald that blade was strong enough to cut through his dragon scales. He told Edwald to follow his orders if he wanted to stay alive. Edwald tried to talk back, but the golem blasted a chunk off his scales, so he shut up. Leo kept shouting instructions at him and called him an idiot for charging and without a plan. Edwald said he didn't know what to do because he'd never fought that kind of weapon before. Leo told him what to hit, and with Leo's orders Edwald managed to cut off the golem's blade. Jirietta yelled that its weak point was the body. Leo said the same, and Edwald finally took it down by striking the torso. But right after that, the golem sent out a signal and woke up the other machine golems in the ruins. Leo got ready to fight them, but Echidna showed up and said she'd handle it. She burned all the golems with a huge fire spell. That gave Leo the chance to scold Edwald and throw his own words back at him for not being able to beat the golem. Edwald finally understood he was pushing people too hard, and Jirietta backed him up. She said it's not fair to think everyone can fight the same way he can. After hearing her, Edwald apologized to his soldiers for calling them weak, and the troops said they still wanted to follow him. While that was happening, Echidna was going full boom boom mode and kept blasting the already destroyed golems over and over, and the other generals were trying to stop her from wasting mana. A few days later, Shutina went to Leo's room and told him that Queen Echidna was planning to give Dark Knight Onyx an official position with the generals. But she also said Melnus told them about Leo's past, and she asked if he really lied about why he joined the demon army. Leo said he'd explain everything to them later that day, his past, his real goal, and promised he wouldn't betray them. Shutina said okay. She told him not to reveal who he really is yet, because Echidna wouldn't forgive them if they rushed it. She said she'd give him a signal when it was safe. She also noticed the book he was reading, Ibrad, the Joiner of Hands, and said Echidna used to read that a lot too. Shutina asked him if they could really get the Philosopher's Stone. Leo said it won't be simple, but he'd make it happen with his abilities. She said she'd send someone to call him when they were ready, then left. Sometime earlier, a weird-looking demon told Leo that the demons weren't trying to wipe out humans. Leo didn't really believe him at first. The demon said the demon race was actually tired of the wars in their own world. Leo asked why they came to the human world then, and the demon explained that the Demon King's experiments accidentally opened a big spirit gate, the same hole that connected the demon world to the human world. He said he came to the human world only because he heard it was way nicer than the demon world. Leo said that basically made them illegal visitors. The imp said, normally, it costs a lot of mana and special items to open a path from the demon realm to the human realm, so almost no demons had actually seen the human world before. That's why they were curious. He thought his story was keeping Leo busy, so he kept talking. Leo asked how problems were handled in the demon world, and the imp said Demon King Bello was a bad ruler because he settled everything with violence. Leo said he'd seen that name in human records, and the imp was surprised humans even knew about Belil. He said a demon royal had come to the human world a long time ago, so that was probably why. When the talk started getting boring, the imp panicked and fell over, so Leo told him to get up and walk with him. As they walked through the wrecked city, Leo asked why Belil opened the big spirit gate in the first place. The imp said demons used to fight over the tiny amount of resources in the demon world, so Belil opened a portal to an empty part of the human world, so demons could move there. Leo asked why the portal showed up in Tokyo, and the imp said that surprised them too. Then he said, things got messy because ogres started attacking humans. Demons started fighting each other again, and right when he wanted to go back, the portal suddenly closed. That was bad for him, because only high-ranked demons or King Belil could close that gate, which meant they were basically abandoned in the human world. Leo then asked if there was a chance Belil and the other top demons would try to take over the human world. The imp said yes, very likely demons know humans are weaker than them, and they probably even sent scouts to check things out and go back before the portal closed. He told Leo that the top demons, the devils, treated lower demons like dirt, and that the higher-ups basically sent him to the human world to die. He was so fed up, he asked Leo to just kill him right there. Instead, Leo put his sword away and said thanks for the info. The imp asked why he didn't finish him off, and Leo said it was because he'd been helpful, and also because he'd already led him to the place where the human containment squad was waiting. The imp said Leo was different from the other humans he'd met and wondered what he even was, since he didn't feel fully human or fully demon. Leo said he'd make sure the command gave him a place to stay in the Shinjuku protection ward. The imp said he'd rather go back to the demon world, but Leo told him they were already close to the ward. While they were walking, the imp asked Leo for his name. Leo just looked at him for a second, so the imp thought maybe he didn't even have one. Leo smiled and said he was the first demon to ever ask him that. The imp said names matter because they prove someone lived, even after they're gone. The imp introduced himself as Ibrad, from the Dark Valley Imps. Leo told him his name too, and said he was part of the Demon Heart series. Humans made him to fight demons and protect people. He said that was his only job. Ibrad said that sounded kind of sad. Leo said he didn't really feel tired from doing missions. Ibrad said that wasn't what he meant and asked, "What will you do when the war is over?" Leo said he'd just stay on standby until someone needed him again. Ibrad said that sounded bad, because that meant Leo would have to live a super long life with no goal. Leo replied that if another war happened, he'd have work again. Ibrad said, "So you're just meant to fight forever." That made Leo think. He said the other Demon Heart units, the ones stronger than him, would probably beat the demon army anyway, so he'd likely die in battle. He said it calmly. Ibrad said he hoped Leo would die before becoming too powerful to feel anything. When they finally met the containment squad, Ibrad told him he hoped Leo would become someone who could one day help demons and humans live together. Ibrad told Leo back then, "One day, humans will toss you away. When that happens, don't just wait around, find something else to live for. Enjoy life. And don't forget my name." Leo didn't fully get it at the time, but he decided to remember it anyway. Now, in the present, Leo was walking to the throne room thinking, so, this is what Ibrad meant. Earlier, Echidna had been looking at an official paper where she ended Dark Knight Onyx's trial period and made him the 5th great general of the demon army. She signed it happily. She even looked at Ibrad's book and thought, Onyx is the one who can reach out to humans for us. But before she could announce it, a demon girl ran in and said the Great Spirit Portal was starting to close. Echidna asked why, and the demon said they didn't know for sure, but their special crystal catalysts were almost used up. Leo and Shutina quickly started using magic to help keep it open. Echidna was frustrated, things were finally going right. And now this happened. A little later, Echidna gathered all the demon generals and told them the situation. The portal was unstable, but for now she, Shutina, and Onyx were holding it open. She said it would last at most 7 days. Lily asked what would happen if it closed. Echidna said, then we can't go back to the demon world and we don't know when another portal will open again. It could be hundreds of years. She said that while the portal is closing, the demon world will keep suffering, so they have to decide what to do in those 7 days. When she asked Shutina for ideas, Shutina said there were 2 choices. Option 1, go back to the demon world now, before the portal shuts. But if they do that, most of their army, who are demons living in the human world, can't go with them, so they'd have to disband the army. Edwald said even the generals would have to split up. Lily immediately said no, because she didn't want to be separated from everyone. Melnis asked, okay, what's the second option? Shutina said the other choice was to move right now, march on Renius, and steal the Philosopher's Stone before the portal closes. All the generals agreed the second option was too risky. Shutina said their army wasn't as strong as before, so if they charged in right now, they'd just end up dead on the battlefield. Echidna then asked Dark Knight Onyx if he'd ever actually fought the hero Leo. He said he'd only heard about him. Echidna admitted she fought Leo at full power and still got beaten, and said if they faced him with their current forces, he could wipe out the whole army by himself. She added that she wasn't scared of dying. She'd left the demon world knowing she might not come back, but she refused to drag her people into a hopeless fight. so she decided they'd disband the army and return to the demon realm. She said she and Shutina had to go back, since they were the demon world's ruler and second in command. But she also said that going back without the Philosopher's Stone would definitely cause trouble over who gets the throne. She turned toward the window so they wouldn't see her crying and thanked them all for staying with her. Then, trying to act like a proper queen, she said they'd have to find some other way to save the demon world. Leo then reminded her of what she'd told him while drunk, that she wanted to make life better for her people. Echidna said, yes, her plan was to use the stone to bring the good things of the human world into the demon world. She said she'd studied and trained for that since she was just a little demon girl. Also, she could become queen and come to the human world. That's when Leo took off his helmet. He told her the stone isn't some magic wish item. It's actually ancient tech from the old machine era. It's like a super engine that uses a tiny black hole to make nearly endless energy. He said it might not work the way she imagined. He guessed the instructions for using it are hidden somewhere in the human world, and that humans are also looking for it. But it's old, so it's hard to find. Echidna started thinking of new plans, and she was about to give up when Leo spoke up again. He told her there are actually 2 Philosopher's Stones in the human world. He asked her to look at him. When she did, he said he dropped the Dark Knight Onyx disguise because things were serious now. He changed back to his normal look and apologized for fooling her. Then, he told her the real reason he joined the demon army. He wanted to see if Echidna deserved the Philosopher's Stone. He said that if he decided she wasn't worthy, he would have just left. But during that dinner they had, he realized how sincere she was. Even though Echidna was still shocked that her Onyx was actually the hero she fought, Leo told her giving her the stone would be worth it, because it could bring peace to both the human world and the demon world. Echidna was so shocked that she didn't even let Leo finish talking. She just blasted him with fire on the spot. She was ready to roast him again, but Shutina, Melnis, Lily, and Edwald stopped her, reminding her that Leo had done nothing but help them till now. She calmed down a little and asked where the other Philosopher's Stone was. Leo said it was in the Seashat Mountains and that it was guarded by something strong. They all headed there together. On the way, Echidna asked why he didn't just teleport them. Leo said he wanted to talk. He told her she'd still need to find the manual to actually use the stone, and Echidna promised him she would unite demons and humans. Leo then told her he was born back in the machine era, and Echidna was stunned. That meant he was over 3,000 years old. He explained he was part of the Demon Heart series, and that his ability was to copy any power used on him. He also admitted that sometimes he was scared he'd cause a disaster himself, just so he could save the world again. Then he told them the real kicker, the Philosopher's Stone, was actually his heart. He told them to take it, meaning they'd have to kill him. They all hesitated, so Leo acted like a full villain. He said if they ran away, he'd start wiping out humans. He swung his sword and sent out a shockwave and told them, if you want to save the world, stop me. Echidna and the others froze, but Leo didn't give her time to ask questions. He rushed at her with his sword. He kept attacking and she kept blocking, but the force pushed her into the ground. She yelled, "Have you gone crazy?" And Leo said no, this is him doing his job. Saving the world. He slammed his sword into the ground and sent out another shockwave. Echidna barely dodged, and a boulder behind her got destroyed. Edwald was stunned that one strike had that much power. Leo said he didn't care about his identity anymore, and that he'd save the world even if he had to break it first. He even fired a slash at Lily, but she dodged. Echidna asked why he wanted to destroy the very world he was made to protect. All he'd make is an empty wasteland. Leo said he was fine with that, he'd protected it long enough, and started laughing like some final boss. He blasted another shockwave and knocked Echidna down. He went in to finish her, but Edwald jumped in and blocked Leo's sword. Leo and Edwald started clashing. Shutina yelled, asking why they were even fighting. Leo snapped at them, saying, "Were you not listening? If you want the stone, you have to kill me." He powered up his sword and pushed Edwald back. Shutina trapped him with a cage spell, trying to seal him, but Leo tore right through it and kicked Edwald away. Leo shouted at Shutina, telling her that if she really wanted his heart, she'd have to kill him for real. Shutina asked him, "Then, why did you help us all this time? You said you wouldn't betray us. Were we even your friends?" Leo just said, "If you don't stop me, all of you will die," and fired a rain of light arrows straight at Shutina. Edwald jumped in front of the attack and took all the light arrows on his back. They exploded on him, and Leo rushed in to finish it with his sword, but Echidna blocked him. Edwald dropped to the ground on his knees, his back all burned, and Shutina finally understood Leo was actually trying to kill them. While Leo was clashing blades with Echidna, he said he was tired of always being humanity's guardian. He asked them who he was supposed to hate more, the humans who made him, or the demons who forced them to fight. Then he made a huge amount of light arrows in the sky, and said he'd wipe out both the human world and the demon world. He sent them all raining down. Echidna and Shutina put up magic shields and protected everyone. Echidna was shocked. Was this Leo's real power? She knew she couldn't beat him like this, and her magic core still wasn't fully back from their last fight. but she decided to use a risky spell anyway. Lily started crying and begged him to stop. She reminded him of their trip to Largo and said he helped her back then. So now she wanted to help him. She said she'd listen to him if he was hurting, and for a second, Leo made it look like he was moved. Then he said they were all just extras, and stabbed Lily with light blades. That made Echidna lose it. She charged him with everything she had, and Shutina fired a huge lightning spell at him. Leo actually smiled and said he was glad they were finally fighting him seriously. Echidna and Shutina were shocked that even that high-rank spell didn't work on him. Leo grinned and told them to come at him with everything. Hearing that, Edwald got back up, even while burnt, and said thanks to Leo for making him see his soldiers' weaknesses, and that he still considered Leo a friend. Then Edwald turned into full dragon mode and attacked him, saying it was his job to cut Leo down if he went off the right path. But Leo blocked him, froze Edwald's sword with ice magic, and then blasted him with fire right after. Edwald yelled in pain, and Leo told him his dragon scales were useless now because the fast switch between ice and fire was breaking them. Then Leo kicked him straight into the wall. Echidna rushed him with her axe. Leo blocked, and Shutina followed up by trapping him with earth magic so Echidna could blast him with her big flame spell. But even that combo didn't hurt him. Echidna realized every time they hit him, his defense got stronger. Leo started walking toward Echidna to finish it, but Melnus jumped in and sliced his neck. Melnus started fighting him with his sword, and when Leo said he was going to destroy the whole world, Melnus said he was lying. He used an assassin move to jump into the air. Leo flew up after him, and they fought mid-air. Melnus tried to stab him from behind, but the moment his blade got close, his body froze solid and he turned into ice. Lily ran at him in her Fenrir form crying, saying she loved him and wanted him to stop, and Leo just knocked her out with a lightning-fast hit. Seeing that, Echidna knew she was out of normal options. She told Shutina, "Buy me 42 seconds. Then she started casting the secret spell her father, Krias, taught her, a spell made just to defeat the hero. While Echidna was charging it, Shutina held Leo back with magic. When he got close, she told him she knew what he was doing. He was pretending to be the bad guy so they'd kill him. Take the Philosopher's Stone, his heart, and use it to unite demons and humans. Leo shut her up with a punch to the stomach. Right before he could finish her, Echidna fired the spell, a hero-binding spell called Anti-Leo, a move that shuts off all his powers for a short time. As it flew toward him, Echidna got scared he might dodge it, and then everything would be over. But Leo didn't move. He smiled and let it hit. While it was coming at him, he remembered everything, how from the moment he first woke up, he was told to protect humans. At first, it made sense. Demons were attacking. People needed him. He had teammates. They fought together, won together, and the world was peaceful. But then peace lasted too long, and the world didn't need a hero anymore. And when the world didn't need him, he didn't know what he was for. When war started again, he jumped back in and kept fighting. He realized the only time he fit in the world was when he was in battle. He kept fighting for centuries, picking up new powers from every enemy, until nothing could beat him. He became exactly what the scientists wanted, an immortal, unbeatable weapon. Then peace came again. A merchant woman even said she hoped peace would continue. Leo stayed expressionless, and wondered why he couldn't be happy about that. And that's when he understood the ugly part. A piece of him wanted the world to be in danger. He wanted monsters, wars, disasters, so he could save everyone again. He was scared that if the world stayed peaceful, he'd disappear, not physically, but as a person. So he started thinking, if the world won't give me a crisis, I could make one. He remembered that the demon heart units were built with a safety feature so they could never hurt humans. It was called thought masking. It blocked them from even thinking about doing harm. But in his case, because he'd lived so long and started thinking for himself, that limiter stopped working. So he tried to fix it. He used his lab gear to make copies of himself. Demon heart prototypes like the ones from the old days. One of the copies asked him, "What are my orders?" And Leo, in that messed up mindset, told it, "Destroy humanity, so I can save it." And in that moment, he realized, deep down, he still wanted to live as the hero. Not long after, the kingdom guards rang the alarm. Demons were attacking. They said a big portal had opened in the Seashat Mountains, and demons were coming through. Leo said he'd go handle it. But then he stopped and thought about what he was doing. He went back to his lab, and destroyed all the demon heart copies. He understood then, if he was trying to wipe out humans with his own hands, he wasn't a hero anymore. He was the real demon king. He realized he was actually the biggest danger to the world, because he was willing to break everything just so he could save it again. He even said no demon lord was as bad as him. That fight inside his head got worse, so he made a plan. Soon after, he was sent to defeat Echidna and her army. While fighting them, he figured it out. To beat evil this time, he had to quit being the hero. But he couldn't just let himself lose to anyone. He needed someone worthy to take the Philosopher's Stone from him and protect the world in his place. That's when he noticed something. Echidna was telling her troops not to destroy things, and not to kill humans. She kept reminding them their goal wasn't senseless war. That shocked Leo. So he caught a demon and asked what was going on. The demon said, Echidna invaded not to conquer humans, but to fix the demon world. Another demon said, there had never been a demon king like her. She banned hurting humans for no reason, and she fought at the front with them. Even an imp said, Echidna praised everyone, even lower demons, so she was a good queen. After hearing all that, Leo sent out a magic eye to watch Echidna himself. When he saw the recording, he realized this was the person he'd been looking for. Someone who could take his heart and also connect humans and demons. So he decided to interview her, test her before handing everything over. That's when he started his last mission, not to save the world as a hero, but to stop being the hero by letting himself be defeated. He fought the 4 generals first to see what they were like. After beating them, he went into the throne room, took out the guards, and finally stood face to face with Echidna. He crossed blades with Echidna back then to judge her to see if she was someone he could actually trust with his life. After he beat her monster form, that war ended. Back in the present, as the anti-Leo spell came flying at him, Leo smiled and thanked Echidna. That's when she understood this was what he'd been aiming for the whole time. The spell grabbed onto Leo, and Echidna's whole body started screaming in pain. She was holding down power that was thousands of years old, all by herself. Blood even came from her eyes. She knew she could only hold him for about 6 more seconds. This was their only chance. Leo realized he hadn't been this close to death in centuries. He couldn't move, couldn't use any of his copied powers, and he actually smiled, because he knew, I'm finally gonna die. Echidna also understood him now. Leo had lived a lonely life for thousands of years, and Leo felt like he'd failed as a hero because he never let anyone else share the burden. They both remembered their time with the others when he was Dark Knight Onyx, and they both knew what Leo really wanted was someone to save him. Leo was happy it was Echidna and her squad who would do it, because after this, humans and demons would finally be able to work together. But then the generals got back up, and Leo suddenly thought, wait, I don't want to die. Echidna said, then I'll give you a hero's death, and told her generals to finish it. All 4, Shutina, Melnis, Edwald, Lily hit him with everything they had. Leo thanked them, and dropped. They all stared at him, shocked and sad, and Echidna let out a dramatic scream. A few minutes later, Leo woke up. He was actually happy about losing. The generals came over. Lily ran in to hug him, but Melnis held her back. Echidna looked down at him and said, so, did you have fun pretending to be a discount demon lord? Leo said yeah, it was fun, and that he always wanted to try being the villain. And he was glad he got to do it with her. Echidna said he went easy on them. Leo tried to act innocent, but she said, you let my spell hit you. He asked, should I have dodged it? You guys were losing pretty hard. Shutina said he came there planning to lose from the start. Leo said he was just glad they managed to stop him before he actually killed anyone. Echidna called him an idiot and said his dumb plan almost got them all killed. Leo just smiled. Then he offered them the Philosopher's Stone, the one inside his chest. He said he'd already cut himself off from its power using an emergency override, so they only had 300 seconds to take it out. Melnis asked if they just had to pull it. Leo said yeah, it should feel like popping a bottle cap. Melnis stepped forward to do it, but Lily started crying and begging them not to take Leo's heart. Edwald held her and told her to stop making a scene because Echidna wasn't feeling well. Lily cried even harder. Echidna looked at Leo and realized he was still smiling, because even now, he was protecting humanity. He never meant to kill them. He chose to die because he knew it would bring peace to both sides. She admitted to herself he really was a hero. She asked if he had any regrets. Leo said no because someone worthy was taking over his mission. Melnis tried to tell Lily to calm down, but his eyes were watery too, so she just cried louder. Leo said sorry to everyone for the mess he caused. Echidna came over and sat beside him, like she was about to take the magic stone from him. But instead of just taking it, she gave him a small slap on the face and a light kick in the stomach, and said she wasn't going to do it anymore because it was too much trouble. She reminded him that she was the demon queen, so she didn't have time to run around doing his little errands. Then she said she had made a decision she was going to hire him, since he had the stone. And since he had lived for thousands of years, she said he was the right person to stand between the demon world and the human world. Leo tried to tell her that they didn't have much time left, but Echidna just brushed it off. Edwald spoke up and said that was exactly the kind of choice he expected from a queen. Leo told Edwald to talk some sense into her, or to just take the stone himself, but Edwald said he agreed with her. He said he still wanted to learn more from Leo, and that letting him die would be a waste. Leo couldn't believe how dumb that sounded. Edwald kept going and said Leo was the only one who could bring both worlds together, since he had lived so long. He also said Julieta liked Leo, so killing him would only make her cry. Then he begged Leo to change his mind. Leo asked if his head was really that empty, and right then, Lily jumped on him, cutting him off. She yelled at him because he didn't ask them for help when he was in trouble. She reminded him that he was the one who taught her about friendship and working together. Lily started crying on top of him and said she was too dumb to understand why he wanted to die. But she would listen to him first and she begged him not to die. Then Melnus came over. Leo thought Melnus would stay calm because he was the quiet, cool assassin. But instead, Melnus started kicking him. Melnus said that everything about Leo, the way he talked and looked, showed that he actually wanted to live. And he kept kicking him while telling him to live. Leo then asked Echidna to just kill him, but Chutina pointed her staff at him and told him to explain why he wanted to destroy himself. Leo said he didn't have time, but she told him to stop talking like that. So he told them the truth. He was made to protect humans, and that's why he was doing this. He said robots like him were given something in their minds that stopped them from hating humans. But he had grown a strong self inside him, and that broke that rule. He said that if he didn't protect humans, he would lose who he was. He tried to say more, but Chutina stopped him and said, "If your will is that strong, you should also be able to turn off that order to protect humans." Leo said he couldn't do that, but she ordered him to try. So Leo went inside his own mind and was able to shut off the voice that kept telling him to protect humanity. Leo couldn't believe he actually did it. Echidna reminded him there were only about 20 seconds left and said that if he really still wanted to die, she would do it for him. But she also told him not to throw his life away just because of orders someone put in his head. That made Leo remember what Irad told him before. As his wounds healed, Echidna told him to stop carrying the title of hero and to work for her instead. Leo took her hand and stood up, and Lily hugged him while crying because she was so happy he was alive. The next day, Leo met Echidna again. She asked him if he regretted not using that chance to finally die. Leo said no, and he told her he would make her dream come true. He would find a way for humans and demons to live together. Right then, some demons arrived and told Echidna and her generals about problems happening in the kingdom, so they all headed out to deal with them. And that's it for today's video, guys. Watch the following video and I will catch you in the next one.